and welcome back to another episode of the Business is Pleasure podcast with myself, Jonelle George Francis, and my bestie, my wifey, my mate, always to be, Colette Monique Liebert.
Oh boy.
You like my little rap, my little poetry thing? Don't act like you didn't, because I'm really good at rapping. So yeah, this is episode 17. I think that we're on now for the Business Pleasure podcast. That's a huge standing ovation for you and I both. I'm really excited just because we've been extremely consistent for the most part, and we've kept on to the plan. We stayed on course just to ensure that we can be as efficient as possible, be as successful as possible, and most importantly, actually bring value back to our community. So, babe, great job.
You too.
And let's continue killing it. But the best way we start every single podcast is, how was your week?
My week was good. My week was pretty good. Spent the majority of the time preparing for our event that we had this past weekend. So that was fun. Did a lot of picking, did a lot of organizing. So that was.
Could you go into detail more, how do you exactly prepare for each event or whatever, and what needs to be done?
So basically,
especially for this one in particular, because there was a bit more things that we had to do.
Yeah. So basically, for us in general, what we do is we try to really specifically curate for the events in terms of the clothing. So this event in particular, it was the Dundas West Fest. So it took place Dundas West. It was a street festival. So primarily middle class people who live downtown. A little bit family oriented because there was a lot of people there with their kids, but for the most part our demographic was pretty much the same, kind of people aged 14 to 25, interested in anything vintage for the most part. So I kind of tried to pick specifically for that. And stay away from stuff that I know wouldn't work for the event, and obviously weather dependent, t-shirts,
oh, yeah, for sure,
windbreakers, because it's getting a lot warmer outside now. But surprisingly, our crew necks did really well this weekend.
Yeah,
because it was getting cold in the nighttime, so people were like, I don't have a jacket, let me just buy a sweater.
Yeah, it's so good though, because adaptive selling, right?
Yeah.
They realize hey, I need this right now.
Yeah. So thanks Mother Nature for that one.
Yeah, shout out you.
But yeah, it was good. And then just in terms of the logistics for the event, I was just making sure that we had everything that we needed. So our banner, it was an outdoor event, which was our first outdoor event actually.
No, we've had an outdoor event before.
Not a good one.
Yeah, but do you remember the Bendale Bonanza?
Oh, yeah,
that was our first outdoor event.
Okay, well this is our first bigger outdoor event.
Yeah.
So we had to get a tarp from Walmart. Shout out to Walmart. We had to get just lawn chairs, stuff for us to sit on. We had to get ropes and stuff to tie up our banner because it was really windy actually.
It was kind of nice too that the event was outside, because it allowed us to get out of our comfort zone a bit and be in a new surrounding where we needed the canopy just to ensure if it started to rain, we have to take care of those things,
So happy it didn't rain though.
Yeah. And I think that played a huge role into our success this weekend. I know I know for us we usually doing these big numbers, but for this week it was nice though, because it kind of grounded us to realize hey, this is what's more realistic.
It's more realistic
in terms of what's going to consistently happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course we strive to always be as successful as we can, but again we worked with what the market was giving us. It's what you were saying previously, how we realized the demographic was a bit more family oriented, and families generally are a bit more frugal when it comes to their finances. So we started to be a bit more frugal on our prices.
Yeah, we had to adjust our prices accordingly. Because at some events, for example, say it's just more specifically our demographic and not necessarily a family type of oriented setting, we could price our windbreakers, say maybe $10 more, because the crowd is willing to pay that. Whereas an event such as this, it's people have there's so much sirens.
Yeah.
There's just so much to take into consideration, because at the end of the day they're thinking about their family finances. It's not necessarily a young kid that lives with their parents and can spend all of their money on whatever they want. So I found that people, you said, they were a little bit more hesitant with our pricing earlier, and that's when we adjusted it down and people were buying at that.
And it's kind of funny. I think one thing I caught on this whole weekend was that if a guy is buying something, he has to get his wife's permission
Yeah.
before he buys it, because
Yeah.
if she doesn't approve it, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the price of the item. She has to make sure it looks good on him.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, it's like, okay, like, no, you're not getting.
Well,
that.
like, I guess it kind of just comes with the territory when you've been in a relationship with someone for like an extended period of time. Like, you don't really know what. Like, it's not that you don't know what looks good on you, but like that person's always the person to verify like what does look good on you. So it's kind of hard to kind of like step out of that comfort zone, especially if it's like a guy like who like maybe generally doesn't have the best like sense of style.
Yeah,
fashion.
and I think that's what it was more so too, because like generally with guys that do that, they're not as comfortable with like their own sense of style. So they're like, you know what, let me get the general over here to just confirm things.
And also too, just in reference to like vintage, like a lot of the times like if that's not your everyday style, it's a little bit out of the box. You know what I mean? For say like a family guy who like goes to his like 9 to 5 job, wears like a button down shirt and like dress pants every day to go out and be like, oh, I'm gonna get this like 90s tricolor windbreaker. Like, yeah.
Do you ever think we should do that though? Go back to like the original aesthetic that we wanted for Clarendon Co.
I feel like we kind of go in and out of, not like in and out of it, but I feel like sometimes when I'm picking, I'll see stuff and I'll be like,
Ooh, this could work.
this could work. And I try it out and I see if it does. If it doesn't, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like I feel like I try to dabble in different things by picking random stuff to see if people are interested in it. So I think we do kind of like revert back to, not necessarily overall like getting rid of all the like stuff that we get now and like specifically focusing on how like our old style was, but I think like generally we kind of dabble in it here and there.
No, for sure, and that's the only thing that I have issue with the old style sometimes. Is just that like in terms of like return on our inventory.
So what exactly was our old style, just so people know?
So and our whole style was more so something that was a bit more formal. A lot of button shirts, trousers, denim jackets, a lot of long trench coats and stuff like more so like 1980s, early 90s, like British professional. You know what I mean? Like something more along those lines. But yeah, the only thing that I didn't like about that type of vintage was that like it's a smaller demographic in Toronto, so the return on our investment on our inventory would take so much longer. So if it takes us only 5 days to sell a windbreaker now, with those pieces it might take us 10 days, you know.
And also too, with like that style, we were catering more to a demographic that has a lot less disposable income. Like we were catering to an older crowd, whereas like now with the styles that we have, we're catering towards like a younger demographic.
Yeah, the kids don't care about money. They just
don't
want to ball out. They just
like,
want to look good, be flossy.
Yeah, exactly.
And like and it's nice too though, because like sometimes like when I watch them and how they interact with each other, it kind of like it kind of influences me, and be like, yeah, like let me just buy this because I like it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't try to like fall deep into the rabbit hole and like where I become irresponsible. But it's nice too, because like sometimes you forget like you can learn so much things from like the demographic that you're around.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was initially coming into like when we were initially transitioning over to this type of clothing that we're selling now. At first, I was a bit like distant and being like, oh, like I don't really like all this stuff. I made it so much more personal. You know what I mean? But now when we're like, we appreciate the quality of it. We appreciate the designs. And again, we appreciate the community, and those are things like we try to focus on now, and rather than being like, yo, like, this isn't my style, you forget this stuff, like these kids are stupid, they don't know how to dress.
Yeah.
Which some of them don't, but that's in any demographic.
That's in any demographic, and it's like if you're a customer and you're gonna buy something, I don't care if you have good style or not.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm providing you with value, you like it.
And also too, like style is something that's so subjective. Like you may look at one thing and be like, oh, that looks good, and then someone else will be like, that looks like crap. You know what I mean? So it's very subjective.
No, definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah.
So in terms of like people's styles and the things that we don't like and what they shouldn't necessarily be wearing or doing, what are some things you think like with Clarendon Co. we could essentially like stop doing, or like you know, just like take a back step and be like, hey, like we can focus on doing this instead of that?
I think just in terms of our events, we've kind of narrowed down some things that aren't necessarily needed all the time. So like we don't bring a steamer anymore because a lot of times we don't have access to electricity. But another thing in general that I think that we need to work on is just, I think sometimes we're a little bit too like stagnant, and like we let perfectionism like hold us back. Cause like even today, like I was looking at our social media, and I know like we're waiting to, you know, kind of revamp our social media to then do like the Instagram ads and the Facebook ads and all that stuff. But it's like a part of me is like, why should we wait? Like our Instagram, it may not look the best, but it serves its purpose for right now. Our Facebook as well, it may not look the best, but it serves its purpose for right now. So why not just start doing the ads while we're figuring out our whole like marketing strategy and stuff? Because like I just feel like we've been like waiting for so long, and it's not necessary, because it's like we have the sales, we're generating the income, so it's like, yeah, like our online presence like may not be up to perfection, but in the grand scheme of things, like, does it need to be?
Yeah,
at the end
like,
of the day, we're still making money.
Because when you think about it, it's gonna be us. Let's say we take 6 to 8 months figuring it out. And if we want to run this business for 10 years, that 6 to 8 months is not going to look like anything.
No.
And like sometimes I wonder, I'm like, yo, why are we just like slacking? Like, why are we not just like pursuing this? You know what I mean? I think it's a combination of a couple of things. It's one, it's like we're just comfortable.
Yeah.
We're kind of comfortable like making the money we're making.
Yeah.
And also like a bit of fear as well too, right?
And it's like uncharted territory. Like it's something that like we're both not super comfortable with, I would say. Like, I have Instagram, like I just got my personal account not too long ago, but it's not something that I'm like so savvy with, you know, where I'm like, oh, I know how to get followers, I know how to do this, I know how to do that. But at the end of the day, we just have to try. Like, we have to practice, we have to do what we can do, and like figure it out along the way. Like, I know we're trying to wait until like we do our whole like photo shoot to get everything all up and running, but it's like, why don't we just have it up and running now and then insert those things when we have it?
That's kind of crazy. It goes back to the whole idea that we've talked about previously. It was like, you're like, we're not that important for us to feel as if like we can't make these mistakes.
Yeah.
And that we're not gonna be like smart or savvy enough to build ourselves out of that hole. Like, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And like realistically, I highly doubt that anyone's gonna be like, oh, like, look at their Facebook, look at their Instagram, like it's not even like up to par. It's like, I don't care about your opinion. At the end of the day, I have plenty of customers.
Like,
so,
you know what I mean?
So it doesn't matter. So you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're too much in our heads, and we're comparing ourselves too much to other people, and like how other people are marketing themselves on Facebook or on Instagram.
Figure it out on the way, man.
And it's like we can figure it out on the way and like find our own way while we're figuring it out. You know what I mean?
That's kind of crazy, because that's what we essentially did this whole time, right? Like what we said, like we were previously doing like 1980s, 1990s British formal attire, and then we figured out on the way, like,
doing this British thing.
Yo, I don't know what, but like looking dapper, looking fresh has always been like something that's like in my head. And when I think about like someone who dresses really, really well, automatically away I think about like a British person, just like a British like dandy, just looking fly, like a fresh suit, like with the cane, with the top hat.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just looking fresh.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand. I was like,
Yeah, like, where do they keep coming with this? But yeah, so now you made me lose my train of thought. Yeah, so when we had transitioned over from doing like the old school British stuff to like the more modern type of vintage that's relevant, that was the same thing we did. We're trying out new things. We're just trying to figure it out to make it go.
We're going with the flow, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, just like trial and error. And I think like that's one thing that's been holding us back, is like we've gotten away from that trial and error.
Yes.
I think it's also because like obviously on social media, like there are so many eyes on you, so it is like a little bit nerve-wracking to do trial and error, but like who cares? Like, and they like, what are you gonna say?
And again, it goes back to like, yo, we're not that important that people are gonna remember.
No.
The marketing test that we did 5 months ago.
No, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? It's
exactly.
just like, no, you're 100% right. We just need to like honestly just push this stuff out. But I was actually saying it to myself when we go to Chicago this weekend, like, yo, I'm pushing it out there. Just push it out there. Just get it going. Like, you know what I mean? So no, like you're 100% right. You're 100% right. That's something that we really do need to stop doing, because it's like that same energy is so transferable. If we're not doing the whole trial and error in our marketing strategy, maybe we'll stop doing it in terms of our audience. Maybe we'll stop doing it in terms of the clothes that we should be buying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we constantly gotta remind ourselves, like, yo, like trial and error is what got us here. Like, let's not stop.
And just like keep pushing. Like, I'm over the whole marketing thing. Like, I'm at the point now where I'm just like, let's just do. Let's stop thinking, let's stop talking. Let's just do, and everything else will follow suit.
And the craziest part about the whole marketing thing too, we know what we want to do. We know what we want to distribute. And the worst part is like, we already have the content.
Yeah.
we already have the content. It's not as if like we're struggling to find the content to figure it out. Like, oh, what do we need to do or anything like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now to the point where we just have to be like, yo, like let's push this shit out, man. Let's make it happen, you know.
And I think for the marketing too, we can focus a little bit more on our strengths, because like at the end of the day, we are doing a lot of stuff that's working. About to die.
Keep talking.
You know what I mean? Like, we are doing a lot of stuff that's working, and especially in terms of Instagram with our Instagram stories, and like really revving it up when, especially when we have events, like doing before, after, during shots for our events, like all the picking leading up to our events. Like, I think that we do really, really well when we pick. We always post to our stories, stuff like that. But I think we can take that good and like progress on it, you know, build on the good things that we're already doing, and then add a little bit more to it with the Facebook ads, the sponsored ads on Instagram, those types of things, the swipe up to shop now. Just do it, you know what I mean? Do it, and like we'll build that, like, I guess, like lifestyle look, if you want to call it, for our Instagram page along the way. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, the shop now, the promoting the Instagram, that has nothing to do with the lifestyle, because realistically that lifestyle look isn't necessarily going to generate the actual
and it doesn't happen in one day. We actually have to do it over a long period of time.
Exactly. So I think we need to stop waiting and we just need to do it. Are we in agreement on that?
No, 100%. I think you're right.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
No, I think you're 100% right.
All right.
Because we've already used the advertising on Etsy and other little things as well, and it's worked for us.
Yeah.
So like, now all we need to do is do the advertising for all those other mediums, and then we should be fine.
Yeah. Well, we are fine right now, but we'll be better.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, cool. But yeah, what else do you want to mention?
One thing I really like about us is like what we said previously. We are constantly just trying to work with what we get in terms of our events.
Yeah.
You know, so one thing that we always do is talk to every single person.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of times when we go to events, sometimes I see other vendors, they're more so like focused on maybe like they're in their phones, or they're just not as engaged as possible.
Yeah.
But I think one thing is really important to show interest in the customer, show interest in a potential need, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get sales and get people to be really interested in your product.
And I think what talking to people is for us, I think it's our 10%. You know, like, I think it's that like little bit of extra that we do at events that differentiates us from everybody else. You know what I mean? Because like, honestly, like Dundas West Fest, it was long as hell. It was like, what, like one of the days was
6 hours,
and
which is okay.
The next one was like 14,
like legit 14 hours, guys.
14. So like I think there were moments when like it was hard for us to like keep our energy up, like keep talking to people. But I feel like at the end of the day, we still pushed through it, and we still like did the best that we could, and we sold a lot of stuff, like a lot. And I think a lot of that was attributed to the fact that we were always talking to someone. We were always like, hey, how are you? Even if they look like they're not our demographic at all and like wouldn't be interested in anything we had to offer, we still gave them that like respect to be like, hey, like, how's your day going, whatever. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what's the good thing is too, because a lot of the times we'd say hi to people, they're like, yeah, I'll come back, and they'll actually end up coming back, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you've given that split second for them to like show like, hey, like, I'm noticing you.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can notice our shop.
And you matter to us. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you don't come and you don't even necessarily have to buy something, but if you don't come, give us maybe a couple of seconds of your time, some interaction, maybe allow us to give you one of our business cards, like, there's no purpose for us being there. Like, if we don't have a customer, we don't have a business. So our customers are our main priority at every event.
No, 100%. And like, not even only the events, but even to bring this back to the advertising, it's like, that's what the advertising is doing for us. It's like allowing us to like meet new people. It's allowing us to engage with people even without us being there, you know what I mean? And so with us now doing the advertising, we're actually like taking away from the company a bit instead of like finding ways to properly engage with people, you know?
Exactly.
Because I know a lot of people, sometimes people find advertisements annoying, but our demographic, the people who actually like that stuff, they won't.
They won't, because it's what they want.
Exactly.
They want a windbreaker, they want a sweater, they want champion pants, or whatever the case may be. So it's like we're providing them with value for something that they want. And I think, sorry to go back to our Instagram again, but I think one thing that's good about our Instagram is the fact that it's honestly kind of like a shop. Like it's not necessarily lifestyle. It's not just like a bunch of pictures that look really nice, but like you can't really purchase anything that's there. It's like if you scroll through our Instagram and you see a picture of something, it may be sold already, but like you can message us about it and we can either sell that specific item to you that you just saw, or we can find something similar.
And the good thing about it too, it's like you don't have to guess. You don't, when you see our Instagram, you know it's about like, oh, like these guys are a store. Like
Sell clothing,
yeah,
yeah.
they sell clothing, you know.
Yeah.
And it's also nice too, cause like we've curated it in a way where it's like these are the pieces that we have. So if you're looking for something different, you should probably go somewhere else. You know, so it's kind of obvious to be like, okay, like hey, like this is what these guys are offering. Do I like it or do I not?
Yeah.
But
no.
then again, then again, that has the potential to lose the other half of people, right? People that don't like things that are just like purely about economics, where they want it to be a bit more artistic, where they want like the lifestyle shots, what you're saying, you know, something that they could like familiarize with themselves, you know, because a lot of the time some people like, for like me personally, but I'm a bit older, right? I don't shop on Instagram. I'm not going out of my way to like go to someone's page. For me, I like looking at the lifestyle stuff, you know. So our page wouldn't work for me personally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think we're trying to battle right now, with trying to figure out what we think is good and what the client enjoys the most, you know. But first, we should focus on what the client enjoys the most.
Exactly. And first, we need to just try. We'll just try, see what works, see what doesn't, and then adjust accordingly.
And then that's all you can really do, right?
Yeah.
So that's really, really important.
Yeah.
And one thing about also finding people is like, a lot of people have always asked like, oh, like how do you guys find all these events? Like how do you guys go from place to place or whatever? So for us, when I'm searching for events, I try to look for like key terms that like resonate with our community, right? So right now we've really been focusing on like the Hypebeast community. So I'll go to any search engine. I'll go to Kijiji, for instance, type in like Hypebeast event, Hypebeast expo, Hypebeast show, stuff like that, you know. And other things that also works well with that is go on to Google, go to a quick Google and type in like events for young people, events for shoes, events for guys that like clothing, you know what I mean? So it's like literally finding out all these different key terms or keywords that you can use to hopefully find leads for different events and do different things. And I think one thing a lot of people forget the most is asking all of your contemporaries, asking the people who are in the same industry as you, yo, like what event are you going to? Like don't be shy, like you know what I mean? Like steal someone's idea sometimes. Like it's okay.
And it's not even like it's their idea. Like you're just learning from people who maybe have a little bit more experience or maybe know a little bit more. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I mean? But I think sometimes like some people like making it a bit harder for themselves because they want to make it seem like, hey, like
I figured this out all on
like
my own.
no one gave me this, like, you know, like I did this all by myself, which is fine. But you have to understand, like, it's like that old African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And it's like you have to work with the community, you have to work with people, you know what I mean? That's the only way you're going to build a business. Basically, like, to refer to what you were saying, is like, without our clients we are nothing. We have to understand as well, like, without our competitors we are nothing, because if there's no community to like grow with, our business won't grow.
Yeah, if there's no community, then there's nothing to really support, you know what I mean?
Like, you know, so yeah, so like that's one thing I like to do. Another thing I also like to do as well is just so it's the Kijiji searches, the Google searches, Eventbrite. Eventbrite is also a really good place to go in as well. For me, I like searching like different like business expos, different youth events. Honestly, even sometimes things that aren't necessarily correlated directly to our demographic. For instance, like the Dundas Street West Festival. I kind of knew that we would be like somewhat good because Dundas West, it's an up and coming area. A lot of like hipsters, those hipster people that people call them, would be there. And of course, like hipsters love vintage. So it kind of made sense that we should be there as well too, right?
One thing that you mentioned a really long time ago that I just remembered, I want to start focusing a little bit more on women.
Yes.
Because a lot of people that buy her stuff are women.
Yeah.
So I want to start having more items that specifically cater towards women. But at the same time, when we have done that in the past, when we have tried out, buying like dresses and vintage.
Cashmeres.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily work.
I think it's because I think one reason why it doesn't necessarily work though is because when you just take a quick glance at our stuff as a whole,
You see men's clothing.
you see men's clothing. You know what I mean? So that's why I think that's deterred a lot of the women from coming by. But let's say we had like 20 dresses, 20 women's pants, 20 this of women's items. I think that whole perspective would change a lot. You know
That's
what I mean?
very true. So we just need to do it on a larger scale then.
Exactly. But that's the thing though, it's like the way with like the 90s and like late 80s, the way this clothing is like structured,
It's really unisex anyways.
you know, it's like boxy, like, you know, women like boxy things sometimes, guys like boxy things sometimes,
Yeah.
you know. So it's just like, and that's why I think a lot of our audience has been women,
Yeah.
because like the
Well, it's
clothing
just
is
the
like
style
somewhat,
right now too.
yeah.
Like this,
people like oversized, people
people
like
like
baggy, people like,
oversized, yeah.
like, you know, like people are getting away from fitted, people are
Yeah.
getting away from like contouring all the curves and everything, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, for
Unless
sure.
you're going out.
Yeah, unless it's like a specific event or like, that is very true. Like just the style right now in general is just.
Everyone wants to lounge and
Everyone,
relax.
yeah, and like wear your boyfriend's clothes, pretty much. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty much what it is.
No, 100%. But like, that's why I think we're really good at like understanding the market, because we're constantly watching, we're seeing what's going on, we're
Yeah.
aware of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, there's some things that like slip through the cracks that we may not understand or like may not be aware, but it's a part of business. Like,
Yeah,
it's
we're
okay.
trying. We're trying at the end of the day.
Yeah. So before we wrap this thing up, did anything fall through the crack that we might have missed?
Not really. Actually, yes. I wanted to also talk about our event and just some of the things that we did well and some of the things that we could have improved on. One of the things I think we can improve on for our next event. I want to cover the off-white in like, you know, those plastic coverings.
Garment bags.
Garment bags. Not a full garment bag with a zipper, but just like
Yeah.
the dry cleaning one, the
Yeah.
little plastic that they put over top. I want to cover our white off-white in that because I like every time someone would touch it, I'd be like, "Did you wash your hands? Like you've been at a street festival all day. You know what
And
I
you have
mean?
the tzatziki in the
Yeah,
side of your
yeah.
lip with the crusty nail. Like, move for me.
You know what I mean? Move for my off-white. Like, you know what I mean? So that's one thing that I want to implement, especially for our next event coming up, is putting, and also I think it makes it look more
Pristine. Like, it
pristine,
stands
and
out
it's
there.
like, yeah, you know what I mean? So the black I'm okay with, because obviously the black, like,
Yeah,
it's not gonna get too messy, but it's like the white, all it takes is one grubby fingerprint and it's done for, you know?
No, definitely.
So yeah, I want to do that for our next event.
Okay, definitely something we'll look into.
Okay?
Nice.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Business is Pleasure. Please like and share so we know that you care.
And also comment, let us know anything that you want to hear about specifically or any, just more information on anything really.
Cool. And thank you so much, guys, and keep well.
Bye.